Hey everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the VOD Squad, the show where we talk about streaming technology. This is episode 130, May 1st, 2019. I am Clyde, and today I am joined by Matthew Ross.
Hi, Clyde.
And Michael Aston.
Hello, Clyde, and everybody.
Everybody indeed. How you guys doing today?
Not bad, actually. Spring cleaning, let me put it that way.
Wait, you guys have spring?
Yes, it is officially spring here, which I know anybody who lives almost anywhere else is being very confused by that statement. But no, it's nice. It's in the 60s. It's been in the 60s all week. No rain. I might have a little rain next week, but it's just been a nice time. It's been really nice here. And no, I'm not cleaning my house. I'm trying to clean all the crud that's out of my office. So gotcha. At work, it's a lot of rearranging and putting things in other places, and it's a lot of work.
I bet. Yeah, I'm going through a little bit of that cleaning and sorting, and I have no motivation when it's so cold and gray, and I get home from work and all I want to do is like go to bed. It's like, where am I? Seattle?
Nope. Seattle's beautiful weather right now.
I know that's what
it's 65 degrees.
I was going to say, this is about the time when Seattle transitions from being a wet, drippy, miserable mess to being the most amazing place on earth.
Right. We are depending on the year, we may be entering that period of about 2 to 3 months of super sunny, not too hot, beautiful weather. Seattle's awesome in that way. And then September hits and it's all over.
Now, I got to say, the only time I spent really any time in Seattle was in the end of August, beginning of September. I was there for Fleet Week. Actually, this was literally like 3 days before 9/11. But I was on my way home from Seattle. But it was beautiful. I had nothing to do because couldn't get around anywhere when your boat is sitting basically anchored to downtown, and everything in downtown, they roll up the streets at 8 o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. And then you just got 1,000 sailors wandering around going,
Yep. Hey, if you're out at 8 o'clock on a weeknight, there's nothing for you to do. Nothing.
No.
So, yeah, I would say, at least for Vancouver, Portland area, June, July, and August are pretty consistently really great. May is hit or miss, and occasionally things will start to get a little bit nice in April, but you'll still definitely have a fair amount of rain. September also, you'll get some nice days, and maybe even the whole first half, but at some point in September things are going to start going downhill, and from there on out it's going to be wet.
Yep. As I tell everybody, if you're thinking about coming to Minnesota, no matter what time of year it is, don't bother.
I thought you were going to say June, July, or August. It's bearable, but no.
Are you saying if you think the weather's bad now, wait 10 minutes?
It'll be worse. It's either unbearably cold or ungodly hot and sticky. So,
because it's got humidity.
Well, and that's the problem, is we don't get a spring. So it goes from like super cold, and then it'll be like 90 the next day, and then humid because of all the moisture. It's just like, so. But on that note, should we talk about something else?
That transition from the end of Weather R Us to
the end of something else.
I guess. I don't know. Cinemia. Remember, guys, we talk about them every once in a while. The movie service where you are able to spend, what was it, $20, $30, $40 a month, and
And get
depending
like
on
3 or 4 movies.
and if you had a certain number of movies a month for them,
Yeah.
they introduced their package as a competition to Movie Pass. And when
Well,
Movie Pass,
no, sorry, it wasn't a competition. They said we saw how MoviePass was failing, and we have fixed it. This is the solution. It will work, I guarantee.
well, I'm sorry, but they're shutting down. Cinemia has decided that it was going to go ahead and shut down subscription service in the U.S. They sent out a nice long dear customer letter to everybody saying how that they were trying to make this work with for everybody, and that it just wasn't working for them. And despite their efforts, it is time for them to go ahead and call it quits. Which is interesting because Movie Pass, they're still going, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how MoviePass managed to dupe a bunch of investors out of even more money. That's maybe a pessimistic or cynical perspective of it, but it seems like that's the case. Obviously, and they say this in their letter, they couldn't compete with movie theater chains creating their own subscription services. And how could they? They have the same. Well, they have a lower upfront cost because they can eliminate any additional overhead that they may be charging. But specifically, they get the profits of all the cross sells, the concessions, anything they get in the like shirts and stuff that they might sell at the theater, event related things. So yeah, Cinemia doesn't have that advantage.
Yeah. Well, and then also on top of it, they were competing with MoviePass while also being sued by MoviePass. I'll
Really?
bring this up just as a point, because MoviePass was currently suing Cinemia for patent violation. Which that's a completely different story, but that obviously didn't help. The thing though is the timing. They screwed over a lot of people because they shut it down right before this big movie came out. And also these people that were planning on using it, number one, they couldn't use it, and number two, there wasn't enough time to switch to another service. So, yeah, and they saw this movie coming and said, "Oh hell no, oh hell no, no, okay, pull the cord."
So what you're saying is that Endgame killed Cinemia.
It was their Endgame, yeah.
So okay, I have not seen Endgame, so. But I'm guessing people die, and apparently Cinemia is also one of the victims. So.
Yeah. So, what they should have, whoever wrote this article, they totally missed an opportunity when they should have put like a pile of ash, where
Cinemia
yeah,
turned into
But yeah, it is kind of funny because everybody has been talking about MoviePass is going to die. MoviePass is going to die. Cinemia is going to be, or Cinemia, whoever. See, and I think that's part of it too. Nobody knows how to pronounce it.
that doesn't matter. But no, a lot of people did think that, MoviePass screwed up and Cinemia is going to be getting into this fresh and doing it right from the beginning. And there's probably a lot of people who are thinking that, that's the way it was going to go. But hey, you like your MoviePass, right?
Yeah, and I mean, as a reminder, I use Cinemia for like during the fall.
Yeah,
and I got about a month into it, and it was so frustratingly kludgy and convoluted to do everything. So I quit and went back to MoviePass. But the only reason I signed up for Cinemia was when they tried. They dipped their toe in the unlimited movie pool, which didn't work out so well for them. They didn't offer that for very long. Um, and yeah. So, but my question is, what about the people that paid for the annual? They paid for a whole year in advance.
Yeah.
Are they just out a bunch of money?
Oh,
Is there going to
I
be a
don't.
class action lawsuit?
If they declare bankruptcy and close in bankruptcy, yes, they would just be out.
Yeah.
It is possible that they have some terms and stuff like that that allow them to do that, but it's unlikely that they would be able to get away with that without.
Yeah, no, I
actually
don't, and that's the
having
thing is, I don't think they're actually bankrupt. They just said, you know what, we don't see any profit in this, and if we don't get out now, then we will be bankrupt.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Then they're probably having to prorate those subscriptions to some extent.
Okay.
Really surprises me is, and I'm not a patent lawyer or anything, obviously, but I'm very surprised that they would be able to get away with a patent on the business model that they have. It's such a clearly obvious.
Let me look at the story. I don't know if it is. No, it wasn't. It wasn't the business model. It was several patented features of its mobile app.
I thought it was specifically the business model, but
no. It was they had patents on features in the mobile app, and then Cinemia argued that MoviePass had simply combined abstract concepts, but a judge held up or supported MoviePass's claim and allowed it to proceed. So.
That argument has been proven time and time again in courts that it's exactly how innovation usually works. Sometimes it's a whole new thing from the start, but most of the time innovation is taking some things you didn't think of putting together and putting them together. So
yeah,
as long as but the key is that it has to be novel,
right,
unique, and non-obvious.
Yeah, no,
and
but
in this day and age, it seems hard to come up with features that are non-obvious and not
but
present.
The judge was basically saying, "Let's argue that in court. Let it go on." Not
well,
and
also it wasn't that Cinemia put things together. It was the fact that Cinemia was saying that they're not infringing because those weren't patentable things. Those are just random things that they put together, and it's like, well, no. This is, but yeah, and that's another story. I'm sure we'll hear something about that at some point. But yeah, Cinemia, sorry to see you go. Although I can go back to work a little bit smug because there's someone I work with that last year was railing at me about how MoviePass is trash and it's gonna be dead and Cinemia is the only thing that makes sense. Why do you need more than one movie a month? And now I get to go. Totally how do you like that? How do you like your service?
I totally dislike people who pick a tribe and vehemently defend it and attack all the others for no good reason whatsoever. I don't care what it's about.
I agree.
We need a term for those kind of people.
We already have a term for those people.
They're a clean. Well, yeah, I suppose.
To be PG. So.
Okay.
All right. What's Samsung or what's Walmart up to?
Walmart has it announced that they're basically doing a rebranding of their Vudu and making a new Vudu streaming service available for people, and they are now showing off a couple of their original shows that they're working on to get this going. They've got a show on that's going to be like a Mr. Mom series, and another one that's going to be apparently some type of sci-fi show. These are in a deal they have with MGM Studios, which apparently they are working with in order to make these shows. So MGM makes good stuff. This could be good stuff that everybody could want to watch. And remember, Vudu is going to be a free ad-supported streaming service. So if there's a show on there that you really want to see, you will be able to go see it.
You know why they're using the Vudu name to launch these under?
No, they don't.
Because if they did it as Walmart TV, most people would be like, nope.
That's true.
I
Yeah.
don't. I never shop at Walmart, people.
I was at Walmart earlier today.
I agree. I go wherever makes the most sense.
Right.
And yes, that was a pun.
Yeah. But they don't make sense. They take them. But
Well,
that's okay.
Saves me sense.
Okay, fine.
But yeah. I'm always I'm always on board for more content from more providers, and it's ad supported. Rock on. I'll check this out when it goes.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought about how branding is important. I think last week you had something where the branding needed to be different too, and Vudu has a decent brand name for the streaming service, and there are plenty of people who don't even realize that they're related to Walmart, and that's fine. It's different. It's a different service, and one should not matter to the other, really. So good.
No,
keep it up.
And that's I would actually equate that as the opposite of Viacom is going out of their way to stress that Pluto TV is now Viacom, whereas which may work for them, may not. In this case, Walmart doesn't need to do that. They just go, hey, it's Voodoo.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and as I'm sure you all can guess, this will appeal to me if they offer an ad-free option that I can pay for, or if the shows are really, really good and a lot of people tell me you gotta see it, then I might suffer through the ads. But even then, that's a hard sell for me.
It like I said, it depends. I like having the options, and if I choose not to exercise that option, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So we have a story here about Samsung. Samsung has introduced a brand new version of their television, a new line of their televisions. They've got different ones from the frame, which is supposed to look more like your picture frame. You have the Serif, which is one that looks kind of like an easel. I don't know about that one. That's kind of weird. And then they have one called the Sero. The Sero is your standard looking television on an interesting stand that looks like, it doesn't look too interesting or different, except for the fact that it can turn itself 90 degrees so you could watch your vertical video on it. Oh, goodness gracious. Samsung, why did you do this?
Okay, here's number one. Here's two problems. Number one, Sero is a line of tablets by Hisense.
Oh, really?
Talk about confusing. I have a Sero up there in the...
That might be on purpose.
And while this does... Maybe that's what Sero means. I don't know Japanese.
Tablet mode?
Like, Sero might be a tablet. This is... Nope. It's not that.
It's making you rant and rave. That's what it is.
It is essentially in tablet mode.
It's the ultimate TikTok viewer.
Well, that's what they're going for. It's the article says Samsung's vertical Sero TV brings Insta stories to a big screen. And, the problem with this aspect ratio is that you are now limiting it to one use. You're not going to be able to watch regular TV on it.
Yes, but how can you really enjoy this on this size of screen?
So you're going to spend $1,100 to watch that video in your living room,
or your workout people doing flips and how.
So obviously, it's not for you, Clyde.
No.
It's for the millennials.
No, it's apparently for Mike.
And Mike too. Mike can have it.
No, I'm not a millennial.
No,
I don't actually. I have grown accustomed to TikTok. I actually enjoy it. I when I first heard about it, I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. But now that I've used it, I actually find it enjoyable. I'm a I'm a TikTok stalker, though. I don't participate. I don't produce content.
No kidding.
Worker.
And Mike will back me up on this. When we were at the hotel in Vegas, I asked him. I said, "What are you watching?" And he said, "TikTok." And I thought he was kidding. And no, he was watching TikTok on his phone. I was like,
Yep.
oh.
Well, it's like I said. There's some very entertaining stuff. It's a much deeper, quicker rabbit hole than YouTube. Like if you get into YouTube rabbit holes, man, TikTok can take you down it. But you know, it's certainly just time wasting stuff.
And Cruise hits on something that I actually thought about. In the fact that if you could turn it sideways, I mean, if it rotated, then okay, great. You know, I could see the use in that. But if it's permanently in that position,
no, it's rotatable.
Is it? Because
Yes.
it doesn't look like that based on the stand.
No, apparently you can rotate
I
it.
think both of the one in the middle and the one on the side that he's touching, that he's holding, I think those are both the Sero.
Yes, they are.
Oh, okay.
So
that makes a little bit more sense then. Because
To
if
me-
it's permanently,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I agree.
The serif is also let's where does that name come from? Like
fonts
it's on an easel, so it's art, but serif isn't related to art. It's related to
fonts.
typefaces, which you could argue maybe is a type of art, but that's just weird. Whatever.
It's a type of art.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the serif is the little twirly things on the letters, right?
Well, it's the extension on the end, not like necessarily.
But I mean, it's the embellishment, kind of, for lack of a better word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wabbit says, "Hey, says Sarah, what's the weather outside?" Actually, my Sarah was old enough that it didn't have Android Assistant, so I couldn't ask it that. I had the Sarah 8.
I do not remember the Sero.
Yeah, it was an okay tablet. It was one of the budget. I think I paid like maybe $150 for it. But all right, well, rock on. Yeah, we'll see.
No, it will be a fad, I'm certain, because our eyes are left and right, not up and down. So, YouTube has inked a deal with Major League Baseball in order to make sure that they get 13 of the games this season. It's exclusive to them. They're going to be blacked out in all, and I do mean all, the different places. You will only be able to watch them on YouTube TV or directly from YouTube.com.
Okay, good for YouTube.
Yeah, this forces people to, to go to YouTube if they want to watch their game, and thus they can make their money off of those, obviously. And also, it increases people's awareness of, oh, I can actually do this stuff on YouTube TV, because they'll be blasting YouTube TV commercials all over this. So,
secretly, they don't tell you that those are the 13 games that they tried so hard to sell to any other network but couldn't.
That's possible.
And then it becomes a news thing. Exclusive to YouTube.
That's true. It's absolutely. And maybe YouTube got a really good deal for it, too. You never know.
Yeah.
For cost of advertisement, who knows?
Watch all 13 are Twins games because...
Actually, I don't think the games have been announced which ones they are, but they've got the deal for 13 of them, and yeah, it'll be this kind of thing does happen. I think the whole blackout thing in baseball and other sports, but particularly baseball, is just infuriating in any way, shape, or form, and I think that whole system needs to be torn apart and restarted from scratch, so you can watch it on whatever dang device you want.
So I think this is an important note and distinction, though, is while I do have a serious problem with the regional blackout concepts, I don't have as much of a problem with this because you can view it from anywhere and anybody can do it. So at least it doesn't
Yeah.
explicitly prohibit you from watching it because you're in Seattle, or
Yeah.
me from watching it because I'm not in Seattle or
I
something.
agree with that.
So that
And
is helpful.
And on top of that, there is a free service you can use to watch it, which is YouTube,
Yep.
or you can use YouTube TV
If
you
you're
want to
already
use
a
the
subscriber, yeah.
exactly. You can just use that standard platform for it as well. So, again, this is like the highest of the low hanging fruit to worry about, if you know what I mean. Not a
Yeah.
big issue. But I particular just blackouts in particular can die 1,000 deaths in a fire.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel.
Sounds good.
Facebook Live. So that service where you can watch. You can. Which one was the Facebook Live? Was that the chat service where you could talk face to face with
That's
people?
the
That's
No,
their
it was
video.
the TV. It was
That was their
Facebook's.
YouTube channel,
Yeah,
right?
it was Facebook's YouTube killer.
Right, and it didn't kill YouTube, so that's pretty. And also, Amazon Prime Video are coming to Facebook's portal. Hey, look, it's another device you can turn 90 degrees. Oh, joy. We've got two of them the same day. How exciting. Facebook had a big old conference this week where they made a bunch of different announcements about how they're becoming a privacy company. And yeah, one of the things that came out of that was that they got some new deals to get some more content on their well, I don't know, how well does it sell? The portal? Did anybody sell it?
Well, here's the thing. This story, in order for this story to make any sense whatsoever, you first have to be aware that Facebook has a device called the portal, which we have not ever talked about. I had never heard of it until today when I read this story. When I first read this, I thought Facebook Live and Amazon Prime were somehow teaming up with Valve and something to do with the game Portal, because it says video are coming to Portal. I was like, how does that work?
Yeah,
apparently Portal is a device.
That's the name of the device. Yes.
So
basically, so this is a device that is you leave on in your room. It has the kind of feature where when you want to talk to somebody, it'll pop up your screen on theirs so they can see who's calling, kind of thing. And when you're talking on it, it has an ultra wide angle camera lens that can see everything in the room that is pointing at them. It's the 180-degree lens. So the cool thing about that is you can walk around your room and it virtually follows you.
Yep.
But if you think about it, you're just giving Facebook a camera to see everything in your room with a wide angle lens and very high resolution. I think it's 4K. So yeah. As far as I know, the only person I know who's bought one or two is Leo Laporte, and he's trying to return them. As long as I know, they wouldn't take it back. I don't know.
Wait, how long have they been out? I thought they were just announced like 2 days ago.
No. These have been out since last year, since before Christmas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think anybody's bought them, or if anybody has, they're regretted it.
So it's going to go on the shelf next to Leo's Fire Phone?
I guess. Well, I don't know.
Except that it's huge, right? Like, I mean,
well, no, they're like picture frames.
There's a small one and there's a big one, and yeah.
Okay. See, and that was the thing. One of them doubles as like one of those digital picture frames. So when you're not actively talking to somebody, it can just show your pictures, and then when you want to talk, then your picture frame magically turns into a digital telephone. Video phone. That's the right word. Yeah, that's the ticket. I see, and I look at this through the same lens as why I didn't buy an Oculus Go. I was really excited about the Oculus Go until I found out, oh wait, this is a Facebook device and you have to use your Facebook account.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. I'm out.
That's okay. That everybody has to try to get into every new market, right? Well,
yeah.
You can just ignore the privacy.
And I think it's funny though that Amazon got behind this, which brings my my Fire Phone comparison a little bit more credence.
Yeah, that's
I I think Amazon making the announcement makes sense. There's no reason for Amazon not to be on every device, right? Like, so why not? No big deal.
Yeah.
Fact that Facebook announced Facebook Live is on there, I think is a funny feature, because Facebook Live is the service that nobody has ever watched a video on purpose. All of their views come from automatically playing when you scroll through your Facebook feed.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's what they want. And I assume that the content for that device is like it talks about it's a picture frame. You can show off your pictures. But I think you get your pictures on them by posting them to your Facebook account.
so it'll now it's a new place for them to autoplay video that you don't want to see.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing is if it's linked to Facebook, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they can get paid for the ads that go with the videos that are autoplaying that you don't see, that you don't want to see.
How long until the Samsung Sero puts Facebook on it?
So I want to know how long before the this portal starts YouTube living someone walking around their house in their underwear without them knowing about it. I mean, not maliciously, but unintentionally triggering it, and going live to YouTube.
There's like a keyword. It's voice activated. Watch this. As you say something and then do something horribly inappropriate, and then that's streamed to your Facebook feed.
Yeah, again, such a horrible idea. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of disgusted by it. Sorry. All right. Well, Valve had an announcement. They went ahead and announced a kind of rumored for a little while new Index VR kit. This is their competition, their new version of the headset, the VR headset that they're releasing. The kind of a competition even to the guys who were the Vive guys, which they've been working so hard hand in hand with. The big thing about the Vive Index is that it has got an extremely high refresh rate and high resolution display in there. They're trying as best they can to reduce any kind of lag to the display and any kind of pixelation you can see on the screen, where it has a 120 or up to 144 hertz display for each display, and a 1440 by 1600 LCDs for each eye, which is incredibly high. But unfortunately, it's going to be $1,000. So,
but this is $1,000 if you need the complete package. If you don't currently have a Vive, this comes with the headset, the controllers, which are updated, not the normal Vive controllers, and supposedly better tracking. If you already have a Vive, then it is compatible with the previous generation motion trackers and controllers. So then all you need to do is just buy the headset for like $400 or $500.
Well, you need to get the updated controllers, so you can keep the base stations.
Right.
So you're in about $750 if you have an existing kit. Like if you already have the Pro.
I thought you could still use the old
$750.
controllers, but maybe I was wrong.
Yeah, no, the controllers, as you mentioned, are upgraded, and so in order to get and maybe you could for some games, but to get the full experience and the full application, you do need to buy the kit.
Yeah, because the article specifically said, and simply buy the new headset. So maybe the controllers come with the headset, so that's fine.
To me, what's interesting about this is my gut reaction when I first read this story. I was like, $1,000, man, that's expensive. And then I realized like this thing's $1,000, and we spend $2,000 for folding phones that break after a couple of days.
How much was that elliptical machine over your shoulder?
Oh, the elliptical machine?
Yeah.
I got it like last off the shelf for like $300 or $250 or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, I got a good deal on that.
The price is still a little bit high, and then you also consider the fact that you got to tack on a $2,000 to $3,000 computer on top of that. So it is an expensive proposition. However, I would propose most people that have a 10-foot by 10-foot room in their house to dedicate VR can probably afford $1,000 TV. I am still waiting for that lottery ticket to fly into my
Well, and I
hand,
mean,
since I don't actually play, that allows me to win and buy a house big enough to play with a Valve
yeah.
headset.
Honestly, this isn't much more expensive than buying just the regular Vive kit. The regular
Right,
Vive
Pro.
kit, you're looking at about Vive Pro. You're looking at what, $750,
Something like that.
and so for an extra 200 and change,
If it's that
you
much
get
better,
a better potentially. My fear is that it will be in some way proprietary.
yeah.
If that's the case, then Valve's going to shoot themselves in the foot again. And also, I'm afraid it's going to end up being like another Steam box.
What do you mean proprietary though? Like,
Only works with Steam games.
oh, okay, yeah,
Imagine if that's the limitation.
Yeah, so or new Vive accessories won't work with it. You'll have to get Valve, something like that.
yeah.
But that's my fear, and also the fact that Valve doesn't have a good track record of sticking with stuff. They say, "Hey, we got this awesome thing. Go get it. Go use it." Oh, and then you talk to them a couple months later, and you say, "Hey, are there any updates?" And they go, "For what?"
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know about that thing.
That's
Those
true.
people are gone. They left the company.
That's true.
So
That's a possibility.
yeah.
That being said, this is a pretty cool device, and if you're in the VR game,
Mhm.
this is kind of a cool, exciting thing because it is high fidelity. Even if what this means is that Oculus and Vive comes out with something that's equal or better and pushes the game even further, that's great.
Whatever it takes to push the technology forward.
Yep.
That's what matters. So
Even if you have to sell a $2,000 phone that breaks when you fold it in half, it's worth it, right?
well,
That's a different show.
most everybody out there has like $1,000 phone that breaks when you fold it in half. If I were to fold this phone in half, I guarantee you it won't be usable.
Have you seen the
Yes.
the YouTube channel called Jerry Rig Everything?
Oh no. I thought you were gonna ask if I've seen the new Samsung folding phones.
No. Although I can't wait until so that's a channel where the guy all he does, I know we're on a tangent here, is he tortures the phone. He doesn't care about specs. He doesn't care about new fangled features or anything. Like, he wants to know if it's going to survive a general day. So he does everything from razor blades to hardness tests on the glass to eventually he grabs the phone and tries to break it in half. Does it all. I can't wait till he gets his hands on a Samsung Galaxy Fold and just clunk and close it in half. It goes, well, that's supposed to happen, so it's okay.
Well, he needs to take it. So if it folds this way, you need to turn it and then fold it this way.
He will. I imagine what he'll do is he would just close it and then try to snap it that way, because that's what usually what the idea is. Will it survive if you put it in your back pocket and you sit on something hard? That's the idea. And he has ones that have failed him. So, in particular, recently the new iPad Pro has been a disaster for people.
Well,
all right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, that's kind of to be expected. End of tangent, right? It's big, right? Like
big, it's thin, and there's a hole on both sides where you can bend it easily because there's a microphone on one side and there's a charging port on the other, which makes it really weak to bend.
But again, the larger the expanse that the glass expands across, the weaker that it's going to be. So,
Absolutely. All right, Huawei, the company that everybody says, hey, they may or may not be stealing your data, but their code is kind of questionable. Well, guess what? They're coming out with a new TV just for you. This brand new TV is going to have a 5G modem built into it to work with their 5G infrastructure, and will have the capability of giving you 8K television streams directly from it. This could be your new, in middle of your house, 8K a 5G hub, where it's the thing that's plugged in to provide the rest network to the rest of your house, and they're already planning on making it. It looks like It's going to start out with one of them being about $70,000, but hey, you know, it sounds like we
Yeah.
have had a television in
Well,
the past.
now did it say it was 70,000? Because it did say
Oh,
Samsung's TV
I'm
was
sorry.
70,000 and Sony's was
Yeah,
70,000.
Samsung
I don't think they
recently
gave a price on
yeah.
the Huawei.
That's right. I'm sorry.
Samsung recently released the Q900 8K, which is 70 grand. And
Yeah,
Sony released an 8K television this year that will also set you back 70 grand.
that's my
Um,
mistake. I better
So
apologize.
I'm going to hold off for the budget Huawei because they tend to beat those prices. So with 5G and 8K, I'm betting I can get this for at most 65K.
yeah,
So
well, the thing is,
I'll
you're
probably
not
go
going to
with
be able to get it. Other people in the world will get it, but
that.
right now,
Yeah, I'll
Huawei,
also have to spend $5,000 to fly to China to buy it.
yeah, um, and that's a problem because I read and Mike and I have had talks about this at CES. I rather enjoy Huawei's products, but 90% of the time I can't get them here. Previously, it was just because they weren't selling in our market.
Right.
And then in over the last year, due to the fact that Huawei is partially, if not wholly owned by the Chinese government, it's
Right.
a security issue,
It's a way
especially,
for them to spy on you through your
yeah.
5G
And
TV.
I mean, and I would not be surprised because America did essentially the same thing with internet modems or dial-up modems to cripple Russia's oil
Yep.
pipeline back in the 80s.
Yeah.
So,
It's
it's
And
like,
Iran's nuclear program in the 2000s. So
yep, yeah. So I
it is
mean, there's
legitimately a
precedent. There's
reasonable concern.
exactly, and I know there are people that will take the political stance. Well, this is only happening because so and so is in the White House. No,
no.
there's
Oh, that has
precedent.
nothing to do with it. That has nothing to do with it. Ah, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a fair concern regardless of who's in power. Um,
Sure.
based so yeah, so whether or not you'll be able to get it in the US, don't know. I do think this is a smart idea to use the TV as your internet hub because it's not moving. It's in a fixed location in your house most of the time, probably centrally located, and it's better than having like a wireless router and a mess of cables all over the place because people always struggle with where do I put this? Just build it
The,
into the TV. Sure.
the only real big concern I have with that, of course, is simply that I replace my modems on a semi-regular basis. Uh, I don't want to have to replace my extremely expensive $60,000 TV every time I want to change the way I get internet.
Not to mention, hey, it's very likely that this not yet finished standard of 5G
5G
might
standard's not
change,
finished,
and
right?
suddenly your television
Well,
doesn't work.
and I would assume that, I mean, this is the case where modular comes in handy where you use add-in cards. So like as there are modems out there that will support both DOCSIS for cable and was it QAM for
Yeah.
for the others. And yeah, I mean, if you've set it up to use both and you're using the most bleeding edge standard, you're good for many years because DOCSIS 3.1, I think is the current one, will give you it'll support up to like 10 gigabit internet. Nobody's offering that at the
Right.
moment, so you're pretty future proof. Probably by the time you run out of internet support, you're probably considering going to that 20 or 30K TV anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Netflix has announced that they are going to be offering a new high quality audio stream for many of their shows. This is a very high bit rate, whether it be 640 kilobits per second if you have a 5.1 surround sound system, or 768 kilobits per second for Dolby Atmos sounds. This is supposed to be high enough that most people, if not almost nobody, will be able to hear the difference, even though it is technically still a compressed audio stream. Some people who are audiophiles already are saying, I can already hear the crispiness of the highs, and why don't you don't ever give me my flack, damn you. But
Yeah.
this is good for Netflix to be providing a higher end stream for people who want that. Even though I still listen to my 96 kilobits per second audio, and I can't hear the difference, so I don't know what you're talking about.
It's funny that they would say it's master quality when it's running at like half the bit rate of master level quality, right? So lossless is like over 1400 kbps, right?
Yeah, I think this is aimed at people who think they're audiophiles, but aren't necessarily like a Steve Wilkinson, you know.
Sure.
Well, and to be fair, I'm not an audiophile, but predominantly because I'm not willing to spend the money necessary to like legitimately be an audiophile.
Right.
I do care about the quality of my music and the way I listen to it, but it's way expensive to get to a point where you can even tell the difference, in my opinion. So yeah, if you're running it on normal headphones, normal TV and stuff like that, you're not going to notice anyways.
So let me ask you, this is an easy answer, an easy way to tell if you're an audiophile or not. Are you sexually aroused by sound? Okay,
usually no.
Then you're probably not an audiophile.
Okay, I'm not.
I mean, I think that's pretty much how the word breaks down.
Is that kind of like the lady on the movie Private Parts, where she was getting sexually aroused by sound?
Sure.
Okay.
I would call her an audiophile. Yeah.
Okay, there. Just curious.
I will say that while that has never occurred to me or happened to me, I will say that I have been emotionally. I have been very, very driven and touched by hearing like good metal music on audiophile level equipment, because I have a friend that has some audiophile level equipment, and it just it's a moment that I still remember vividly, like 8 years later. The first time I heard Camelot on a master recording on an audiophile level surround sound.
Remember, audiophile is the one that won't put you in prison. If you get confused, audiophile is the okay one. And
also, I'm going to pull let me push my glasses up to my nose and say, actually, lossless can be low bit rate. It just means the compression does not lose anything from the original file. Just so you know. Okay,
good point.
Done.
Well,
I agree with you. The point being that lossless music is generally considered to be virtually master quality.
Sure, I know, but the compression does not. The idea of whatever compression you're using does not lose any additional data from the original. So that is technically what lossless is. You can have low quality lossless.
You can. That's true.
This is exciting, except what they really needed to do, and they've needed to do for over a year, is support Dolby Atmos on Roku devices.
They don't?
Nope. Netflix doesn't. The Roku Ultra does do Dolby Atmos, but you can't get it from Netflix. And Netflix says that Roku doesn't support it, and Roku says, well, no, they just haven't added it to their app.
All right.
So, forget about, if you really want to support, or you really want to get the audio files, I'm pretty sure those same audiophiles want Atmos sound. So, yeah. And one other thing, Matt, didn't YouTube do something with their their algorithm for what videos they were featuring?
Did I skip a story? I did
Oh, you
skip a
didn't
story.
have to say that. I was going to cover for you.
It's not.
What we,
I accept my mistakes.
what we need to do, obviously, is get our videos posted on YouTube again because they're going to start putting us in the trended section.
Yeah, so basically what they're taking is they're taking their trending section and they're trying to reimagine how their algorithms are picking what shows to be on what on things, and they're trying to, as best they can, change it so various shows that are on that'll show up in the trending session is less commercialized stuff and more personal YouTuber stuff, guys who are actually sending it around and putting out videos that people put together. So they're relooking at this and they're trying as best they can to take a new look at at how the algorithm puts things up on the list and possibly even how they decide what the next video to show you is. So, and why are you pointing at us?
I'm pointing at us.
Yeah, okay.
You and me. We're YouTubers. Well, we could be if we posted our videos to YouTube.
No, we still are YouTubers, so they're just kind of old.
They're there. They just need to be edited and put live. See, and that stopped because YouTube took away the editing tool that was allowing me to trim them, and so.
But yeah, I mean, this is cool if it works. I agree. I find I've looked at the trending a few times and it's always pretty much the same old boring garbage. But YouTube has learned what I like, so I just go to my homepage and my feed and I find pretty good stuff. But yeah, trending at least from my experience is pretty much all worthless. So maybe that'll change.
Maybe. It's good. It's just that they needed to address this. I'm surprised they had not addressed this earlier because this has been the complaint for at least a couple of years, probably longer than that. Probably the complaint has been on there for a long, long time of how the algorithm picks things. And as we know, eventually it all ends up going down the cesspool into the bottom of it all. So this is good. We want to be less. We want to be more of this kind of let the YouTubers shine kind of thing. That's a good thing.
I wonder if this is just idle curiosity from a front-end developer, user experience specialist. I wonder if the main reason that they haven't bothered with this is that so few people actually follow the trending link and go into the trending section.
I do every once in a while.
It's so useless now that nobody actually uses it, and so why waste time reinvigorating it? And then finally somebody was like, hey, you know that button?
Well, I've spent my life avoiding trends, so why would I want to go to where the trend is?
So here's the reason why I go to the trending button. Brand new trailer comes out or brand new show of something comes out that everybody's talking about. I go to trending to see if it shows up there because I don't want to have to search for it. It's a lot less clicks. Sometimes it helps. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I still click on it and it's like either way down there or it's not even on the list. That then it doesn't help me at all. But yeah.
Also, there isn't even there's no trending button if you have YouTube Premium and you go to your homepage. You have to like click in the menu and then find the trending button. So that's probably another part of the reason that I never ever follow it.
Yep. All right. Well. And with that, I think we're now officially done with our news.
This is the point where we typically like to take a moment and thank the people that matter the most to us. I mean, everybody matters to us, but the patrons, they have a special place in our heart and our wallets. But yeah, and so there is a group of people out there that find some sort of something worthwhile in what we do every week, and they're willing to support us monetarily. And so this is we just like to say thank you. If you find value in what we're doing, we're here every Wednesday night. Patreon.com/the VOD Squad. We don't ask a lot. We don't actually ask for anything.
No,
So
you did watch the show without.
yep, the show
It's okay.
will continue to be free and available as long as people are showing up. Even if people aren't showing up, we'll probably keep doing it, like Timothy Oliphant and Santa Clarita Diet. Um,
Oh,
well,
But
when they announced the cancellation, he said that he's going to continue to show up and run lines, and if they choose not to film it, that's up to them. Um,
well,
somebody should film them, and then some other company should pick it up and take over. Hulu, Amazon.
we
'Cause
continue to appreciate you though, and we welcome you to contribute.
Absolutely. Yep. Patrons get a couple extra perks in the fact that they get the custom RSS feeds. So you get if you prefer to partake this in audio form at a later date.
we understand. You don't want to look at our faces.
You're like me. This is the only podcast I ever see the video. Because I listen to podcasts in my car. So,
Basically
it
true.
shows up on my phone through Patreon, delivered without any fanfare, just shows up. And, there's elevated rights and special sections in the Discord for stuff like suggestions.
Oh yeah.
As a reminder, we need to figure out what are the stakes for this weekend's opening. But first, we should probably go over and check in with Mr. Big Voice J.
Welcome to your Movie Draft Minute, presented by DiamondClub.tv for the week of April 29th, 2019. I'm your host, Big Voice J. Deep down, we all want to belong. Too bad some of us are short. Let's go to the scoreboard. Teams Ritual Misery and the Fun Squad are tied for last place, still waiting for the first fill. Team Drunk Kids Gaming is in fourth place with $21.6 million. Team Game Night is in third place with $107.8 million. Team Have a Drink falls to second place with $609.8 million. And with a $400 million boost from Avengers Endgame, Team Movie Party rockets to first place with $643.7 million. That's your Stream Team Movie Draft Minute. All totals are accurate as of May 1st, 2019.
Let me just start off by saying, going into that draft, everybody had a plan, but only one of us had an end game.
If we had more money, we would have bet more on that. The fact that you got Endgame for $53 game still upsets me. There were plenty of people that were on that list that had more money to spend, and I don't know why they should have gone up to 80 easily.
Well, they knew that if they went too high, it would be the only movie they would get, and then they would be screwed.
Right, but
I was willing to go another $10.
60 is at least 60 for that.
I mean, I would have gone at least to 55. I was already at 53.
Yeah, sorry, W. Scottish one. Sorry.
Oh, and I just to talk directly to Mike, who said, would maybe get close to first place, but not all the way. I went, ooh, 475 million. Is that right? Is that the number?
427.
Oh, 427. Okay, I was going off my head. Because it was 375 before, and then I checked today, and it was 420.
It did 357 opening weekend, though. So, I mean, it did not quite hit the number necessary to get you to first place over the weekend.
Oh no, last week we were talking by this episode.
Yeah,
and
that was my mistake, was to not realize that there's going to be a lot of people that keep watching it after the weekend, and that's because
essentially every theater is sold out.
$70 million since then, which is insane on 2 weekdays. Yeah, this movie, and it's already done $1 billion in the foreign market, so it's almost $1.5 billion in less than a week.
Yeah.
Crazy money.
I was actually gonna put forth a motion to help everybody in the league. Can this season can we just start doing the worldwide total?
What, you want to do the worldwide
Yeah, we
instead of
may as
the
well.
domestic?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
do everything. I mean, it'll help everybody.
Yeah, sure. No.
No.
I'd already be at like 1.5 billion.
No.
Yeah, but I'm I was feeling pretty good about the draft, and now I'm.
You're going to be fine. We knew this right when we saw the numbers when you went through this, and I was looking through the calculations of the numbers for
Yeah.
everybody, and you have one of the best out of them all, easily, hands down. The only real question for me is whether or not It Chapter 2 does as much money as you think it will.
I think it's gonna do probably at least 100 in the first weekend. It's one of those movies that
It's possible. Yeah.
yeah. I based on the numbers that it did last time, it's
Sure.
gonna have a boost. You're gonna have the people that saw it in the theater the last time, and you saw the first one. It's kind of like Endgame. You don't really have a choice. If you saw the first one, it was setting up the second one, so you're gonna see it. But then it also has the benefit of the people that didn't go see it because they thought the first one was going to be bad, ended up seeing it in the interim, and then now they're like, yeah, I'm not missing out this time. We're going to go see it on the big screen. So I the 4 weeks worries me a little bit,
No, you'll be
but
fine.
it's going to do majority of its money in the first week or two anyway.
So the chat is asking about our stake bet.
Yep.
We don't know what the terms are of our stake bet right now.
Just to remind, if you weren't here last week, realize that Longshot and Ugly Dolls, which is Ugly Dolls is VOD Squad's first movie.
Yes.
Let me switch back over. Since Longshot is kind of has some notoriety for being the $63 movie. And then Ugly Dolls is their first movie that is like they're basically banking their entire draft on.
No, we are not.
I'm kidding. No, I'm curious. I'm
My
just curious.
expectation our worst movie.
Which will have a better opening weekend? Will the $63 long shot do better than Ugly Dolls? So I'm putting my money on long shot. I'm gonna bet on the long shot. So if the long shot does better than Ugly Dolls, what do I have to do? And then
what do you get?
Or what do I get?
How do you benefit? And how do we?
Yes.
How do we not benefit?
I know Alan
vice
last
versa.
week was screaming over and over and over, shirtless.
No, Omaha steaks came up once. Make it real table stakes.
Yeah, then I get 3 steaks. But then it's really expensive for me when I have to.
No,
shell
you just
out
have to
3
get one
steaks.
for each of us. One steak for each of us.
Exactly.
So.
I have to shell out 3.
He gives out 3 where he gets one from each of us.
You get a bigger boon for you.
Yeah.
Bigger bust for us.
And I think it's a safe bet. I'm not really a betting man. But I have a good feeling. We could do a steak.
Ugly Dolls will do just fine. The question: will it do better than Long Shot? Long Shot is a Seth Rogen joint. Versus
Long Shot, it will suffer from the rule of Clyde in the fact that I'm actually interested in it now.
Right.
And
How about this? Dinner at CES. We pay for your dinner, you pay for our dinner. And since it's probably just going to be me there, it's
so Lowry's. We're talking
unless
Lowry's.
Everybody for some reason shows up this year.
Yeah. So we're talking Lowry's, right?
Yeah, Lowry's, sure.
So that's a good $100 tab.
Ooh. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but Ugly Dolls is the first in a long time of actual kids movie, and it's gonna there are gonna be kids who want to go get out and see a kids movie. That's why I think Ugly Dolls is going to come out and make more money than Long Shot opening weekend.
But the problem is, as I pointed out last week, it's a 20-year-old property that Nope.
Nobody
Most people
knows.
don't know it, and
Exactly.
that's the problem.
I told my wife about the movie, and she was like, "What?" And then I was like, "You remember those dolls, those little toys from like a couple decades ago or something?" She's
Like
like,
around 2000.
"Oh, that garbage." So she,
we're betting on it.
Yeah, she had forgotten about them, and then was like, "Oh yeah."
And also, the movie has a message, so it's going to be super preachy. Because it's all about you can't shame people for how they look.
Yes, you can.
Well,
no, you totally can shame people for how they look, whether they look good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't tell them they can't do something because they're different. So fair enough. But you could totally shame them. That's fine. All right,
I'm gonna stay. I'm staying on out of this one.
Okay. So I will say, the Ugly Dolls were revitalized earlier this year as well, and they haven't necessarily done really horribly. But I don't know what their sales numbers are like.
It's
so
like doing a Cabbage Patch Kids movie in '99. Didn't they do that?
I actually don't remember Ugly Dolls toys at all.
Yeah.
They did the Garbage Pail Kids movie,
in the '90s, but that was when that was near the height of the Garbage Pail Kids, still fresh in the memory. But yeah.
Well, I think it was as they were trailing, right? Yeah. So it was shortly after they lost their pull, and so it was bad timing. But yeah, I mean, these types of things don't have a good history. But Matt is right. Or maybe was it you, Clyde, that said that it has a story, a moral. I think it'll do well. I'm willing to bet on it. Not normally a betting person, but I'll join in. Why not?
I have to ask real quick because W. Scottis, was that a tuna sub that you just gave us?
It was obviously an Italian sub
or
meatball
dancing.
Sub.
So that's why I was wondering if it was the tuna
Fair
sub.
Enough. That's true. Could be.
All right, Will.
All right.
It's an inside joke that he does not appreciate.
All right.
Okay. Well, hey, why don't we wrap things up? We can head on over for some rants and raves. Because I played it a minute ago.
Oh no.
The problem was when I played it earlier, I didn't let it finish.
Paused it. Yeah.
I paused it.
I called it a pre-show, but that's okay.
Well, no, it was when I started it in the middle of the.
I know. I still called it a pre-show.
Okay, that is my rant for the day. Is getting the bumpers to play has become increasingly problematic. But you know what? We will keep doing it because, why not?
Because we have to. All right, I got a quick little thing. I want to talk about a new show we found on CBS. It's called The Code. It's your Marine JAGs, your Marine Judge Ashby.
Well, that's Navy.
Yeah, I know, but these guys are very much Marine. This show is
their Department of the Navy.
Yeah. So, first episode was so much the movie with Jack Nicholson. I don't know. I can't get it off my.
Few Good Men.
Few Good Men. I mean, it is so Few Good Men for that first episode. Next couple episodes were fine, and it's been a pretty decent show. So something if you're interested in, especially if you like your courtroom dramas kind of stuff. It's not bad. The other thing I wanted to let you guys know that they just got put all the Viacom stuff onto Pluto TV. Mm-hmm. So if you go to Pluto.tv, it gets you straight into it, and you can watch channels with all kinds of the cool stuff that you wanted to watch, whether it be your Comedy Central stuff, your MTV stuff, or your Nickelodeon stuff. They've got both a Nickelodeon and a Nick Jr. channel right in there. So it feels like Nickelodeon, but I can guarantee you it's not going to have any of the premium stuff. It's just going to have some of the old shows that you like on it. So
So it's going to be like the Nickelodeon I remember and love, not the
I
current
probably
Nickelodeon. All right.
probably. And last but not least, was coming when I was going across all the stories last night, real briefly. I was looking to see these different stories. There was a story about a new anime on Netflix that is based on Ingress. If anybody remembers, Ingress was a game that you could go out and
People know it by the name Pokemon Go.
yes, that's true. The same company who made Pokemon Go originally made a version of the game called Ingress, which was, and they have now introduced an anime based on that original game. Looks decent. I don't know. I might watch it. I mean, I have spare time, but it really kind of like caught my eye. And like, oh yeah, I used to play that. So
I have an interesting Ingress story. I'll tell you in the post show.
Okay.
Yeah, I could totally see that. And who is the company that made Ingress?
I cannot remember the name, their original name. They ended up being bought by Google, and then they got let out. So
I was going to
Ingress.
say no. The name is Google. It's
Not anymore.
Niantic Labs.
Niantic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were separate from Google. They got bought by Google, and then they were spun back out.
But,
Kind of like Motorola.
all right, Mike.
Well, I kind of got to go with the big news item of the week, right? Like
Oh,
the only
Infinity
thing
hit
other
list?
than my typical Lethal Weapon and Big Bang Theory viewing is Avengers Endgame. I went and saw it opening night with the comic shop, and I gotta follow up Tom Merritt's statement that the best review I can give it is that it lived up to the hype. And there was a lot of hype around this movie. So the fact that it lived up to it is really impressive. I really enjoyed it. Everybody that I've talked to absolutely loved it. I was not one of these people, but so many people, like my niece, cried throughout the whole movie. It was actually really great. I would, if you have any interest whatsoever in any comic book or Marvel movie, you should see the pair, the Infinity Wars and then Endgame. Obviously, you've got to see Infinity Wars first. If you don't know why, then you still got to go see Infinity Wars. But it's really good. Really enjoyed it. I'm not surprised that it's doing this well. I'm maybe surprised that it's doing this well. It broke like 36 or 37 records. It is number 8 all-time worldwide in opening weekend. I mean, it's absolutely decimating everything. And it doesn't surprise me because I hear a lot of people saying they're seeing it multiple times already and will continue to watch it multiple times, which is a little crazy, but
They're making up for the fact that I haven't seen it, and I probably won't.
Yeah. So I appreciate that you just said all that and didn't spoil a darn thing about it, because once again, I will not be seeing it until a future date, and probably not yet this weekend. I wish there was a way I could, but no.
Yeah, I will definitely not I will make every effort to not spoil it for somebody because it's really outstanding. In fact, when I talked to my sister after she was talking about her daughters going to see it, and I was very careful not to spoil it. She says, "Yeah, I've already heard everything about it." And I was like, "Well, that's a bummer because I intentionally made sure I didn't spoil it, because I didn't know if you had for sure gone to see it with them." And she hadn't. But yeah, I think this is one of those shows where like it's exciting and interesting to watch it unfold. I wouldn't want it spoiled. I did see a funny linked out a Twitter or a tweet, I guess is what they call it nowadays, from Scott Johnson that said, and it was a retweet of his, that get over yourself with your spoiler problems when it comes to social media. What it's called self-control. Turn off your social media feeds and live like a normal person for a couple of days.
Yeah, but what if you have to do it for a couple of weeks?
Yeah, well, then the other thing is, come on, get your priorities straight.
Yes,
This movie is important.
Not
in
that
your life.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like I said, I was fortunate enough that it worked out for me. So
I am excited to see it. I hope I see it soon. We'll see.
All right. Well, I guess this is where we shut things down. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. Thank you guys for joining me. Just a reminder, if you're watching this after the fact, we do this live every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central, here on Twitch. Come join us live, because that's where the fun happens. You get to be sassy in the chat and submit titles. And, you know, on the note of titles, post-show, we will stick around. We will be get some voting happening. Choose. The choosing will happen. That's from, I think, regular show, but yeah, I guess I don't really have anything else to say, so I'm just gonna shut it down. Thanks, everybody. Stick around for the post show. Everybody else, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.